Thank you for joining us for this special Operation Education Town Hall. I'm Kristen Bean. Tonight we are navigating the bully zone. We want to help you spark conversations, learn how to use the system, and have discussions with your children. For the next half hour, we're talking about bullying. We want to start tonight with a family who's seen the most tragic impact of bullying. Rio Allred's family wants people to know suicide is not the answer and prevention is possible. You'll remember the 12-year-old died by suicide 2 years ago after she was relentlessly bullied. Her family sat down with us to start off tonight's discussion. This album is special. It holds pictures and precious memories.
What birthday was this?
I think that's 3.
But Nikki and Aaron Ball can't spend a lot of time looking back.
She was just brilliant. She was so smart. She was very creative. And she was very funny, very animated, very bouncy.
Rio Allred was born in 2009. The pictures show she loved reading, sketching, camping, and laughing with her family and friends.
What are the things that you hold on to?
I hear her laugh a lot.
But Rio's photo album stops. In 2022, 12-year-old Rio Allred died by suicide.
It is like looking through anybody's photo album now, you know, like Rio could be my kid.
That's the difference between our photo album and most other people's, is this one has an end.
Her family says for months before her death, Rio was tormented at school by classmates. The 7th grader had lost her hair because of alopecia. She had told her family about the relentless bullying, and they had tried to help through advice and by reaching out to the school district.
We gave Rio options. We said we can switch schools. Her dad lived in a different school district. We could homeschool or she could stay. And she wanted to stay, so we stayed.
Her family says she endured more than she shared. And on March 14th, 2022, Rio never woke up.
It's a nightmare. It is a cautionary tale now.
There's obviously guilt, like a lot of it, but it's probably ill-placed guilt.
For the past 2 years, her family has been on a mission. After Rio's death, the family created Rio's Rainbow. Their mission of bully prevention, alopecia awareness, and suicide awareness remains the same, but their focus is shifting.
Trying to build a little bit healthier community, but at the same time, realizing that the schools can't really do anything.
Rio's Rainbow is shifting from making changes in schools to making changes in communities. Last year, a coalition of parents traveled to the State House to pass anti-bullying legislation. And now they want lawmakers to consider a child safety state of emergency because children like Rio are suffering with bullying, mental health struggles, and violence.
We have chosen to honor Rio's memory, but also acknowledge the fact that there's a reason why we are in this spot right now.
They say the situation is too dire to not speak up.
It's important though, Kristen, it really is important to do these things.
The hope is children like Rio can be saved as long as the conversation keeps going.
We're not gonna stop, we're not gonna just let it go or just say that this is the best we can do, we tried.
And while Rio's photo album has empty pages now, her story isn't over. Her impact is long-lasting.
Be kind. Just be kind.
Costs $0.00 to be kind.
It doesn't have to be such a nasty world.
Of course, not all bullying results in suicide or suicidal thoughts, but Rio's family wants to make sure people are talking about it. The fact is, our children are hurting. The most recent U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Youth Risk Behavior Survey found while experiences of bullying at school decreased from 2011 to 2021, all other experiences of violence increased or did not change, including cyberbullying. And kids who are bullied or are victims of violence are more likely to experience anxiety and depression, substance abuse issues, and lower academic achievement. That's why for the next half hour, our panel is helping us navigate the bully zone for you and for our children. We're streaming this on our website, on YouTube, and on Facebook, and you can make comments and ask questions for our panelists now by commenting on our Facebook page. On the panel tonight, you'll hear from Lindsay Brander. Brander is the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services at Elkhart Community Schools. Dana Clayton is the school social worker at Mishawaka High School. She's also a therapist at Cornerstone Family Therapy. And Donna Pangburn, she's the owner of the Pathways to Parenting. She spent years as a parent coach, educator, and coach for schools. Thank you all so much for being here tonight and talking about this difficult but important subject. So we want to first start off by defining bullying. What is bullying?
So bullying really is peer abuse. It's characterized by three things, and that is an intent to harm. There's an intent to harm the victim. It's repeated or likely to be repeated, and then there's a power imbalance. And
that is important to define because a lot of times people think that something might be bullying when it's not. What, in your opinions, is some of the things that are not bullying but might be misrepresented as bullying?
Yeah, so at Mishawaka High School, we have kind of a three-tiered process. Is someone being mean? Is someone being rude? Or is someone bullying you? And those differences are distinguished by intentional acts and then the repetition of that. And so I am being rude if I, on accident, without intention, was unkind in a moment. I am being mean if it is something that was intentional and maybe it did only happen the one time. And then I am starting to teeter on bullying when it is repetitive, when there is that imbalance and the control that I'm trying to gain.
Yeah, so there's a difference between those things and then bullying.
Correct, yeah.
And I wonder, at what age do you see bullying, by definition, begin?
For me, in my professional experience, it is beginning as, young as an elementary level.
Right.
And that is determined by, again, the same things that we've just described. And it is interesting because whether you're the bully or the person that is being bullied, we still don't have clarification of what that looks like. Is the person just being mean to me? Are they being rude? But it is beginning that young.
Yeah.
And what are parents seeing? What are they seeing more of? Is it bullying, or is it more of that just trying to figure out what is nice, kind behavior?
I think parents are seeing, the aftermath, the mix of the emotions of not knowing what to do. Kids aren't able to always define what is bullying and what is just being, mean-hearted or unkind or teasing. And the parents get stuck with them, knowing where to go with that.
Yeah. And I guess as a parent, how do you know when to report to your school district? A lot of school districts talk about, report bullying here, either online or to this person. But when do you say this is definitely bullying and I should report it? Is it too early?
No, and I don't think parents have to make the determination themselves on whether something is bullying or not. And so that's where that safety reporting comes in. If you're not sure, just report it. A lot of school districts have investigative protocols and they are trained to, make those determinations. So I think it's okay to report.
Yeah.
I always suggest we cannot over-report, right? When we have a concern, whether it be for our child or children that we are just kind of in the know about.
Yeah. And parents often wonder, where do I report first? And in fact, that leads us into our next topic, which is bullying in schools. Parents are often frustrated with how to report bullying or the response from their school district. Advice from our panelists on that and the steps to take, that is coming up next. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us on the Special Operation Education Town Hall, Navigating the Bully Zone. Remember, we are streaming this on our website, on YouTube, and on Facebook, and you can make comments and ask questions for our panelists now by commenting on our Facebook page. I want to talk now about bullying and schools, and I think there are a lot of families out there, parents who are frustrated. We get the emails. I'm sure you get the emails. But why do many families feel like they're not getting the response from the school systems that they would like, or they're not getting the information they would like after reporting something?
I think it can be a struggle for parents too when they make a report. They want immediate results. You want to know that your child is safe going to school. You want to know that if there are consequences, they're happening. Behind the scenes, schools are going through the investigative process. They're interviewing witnesses and the student with the bullying behavior and the victim, and they have to go through that process to ensure that there's due process for everyone involved.
And I wonder if there's a determination at some point that a child may be bullying, but they're also a victim of bullying. There was a CNN article that talked about how there are 3 people in bullying situations: a bully, a victim, and a bully who is also a victim. And I wonder, how often does that happen?
Yeah, I think that we see it most frequently between a bully and the person being bullied, and that they have come from some sort of experience where they too have been the victim of that bullying process. And that is another reason why the investigative part takes so long. Because as a school system, we want to bring attention to the dignity of both sides of what these experiences are looking like. And so I find it extremely important that the time is on the side of both the bully and the person being bullied, but then we're not having those immediate results for parents.
And for parents, I think one of the key factors is it's something that's gone on, and they do feel that need for a quick fix. And we try to say, when I'm dealing with parents, to say, the other end of that is still a child. So we need to go through all of those pieces. So asking them to try to be a little more patient, try to wait it out and see what comes next.
And I wonder, they're probably learning a lot in that time too. We talk about conflict and kids learning how to act around their peers. I wonder if during that investigative process, there might be some discovery there, and how you address that then with the child who may have been handling that conflict in not a great way.
Yeah, there's actually a 4th party kind of in these bullying incidences, and that's the witnesses or the bystanders. So those are the ones who have maybe, seen the particular incident that has happened, or have witnessed other incidences with the, students in question. So it's important to get all sides to provide that information.
Yeah. And that's where that definition of bullying comes in, though, because I imagine that schools are using that definition to determine what is bullying, what is not, and who is the person who needs the intervention.
Yes.
At Mishawaka High School, we actually have a practice of restorative justice, right? And so whether I am the bully or the person that's being bullied, at the end of the day, we want it to be a community where people do feel safe. And so we're having, double-sided conversations where I want to hear both sides. I want to know what your thoughts and feelings are since the experiences.
Yeah. One of the most challenging aspects of parenting is talking to our children about difficult topics and figuring out the best way to help. And that's what we're talking about next. Stay with us. That's when our special Operation Education Town Hall, Navigating the Bully Zone, continues.
They learned that somewhere. Kids are not inherently mean. They're not. I don't believe that.
I think too the priorities shifted between when you look at what kids deem as important these days.
That's the family of Rio Allred talking about why kids bully. Rio died by suicide 2 years ago after she was relentlessly bullied because of her alopecia. Her family says what kids are seeing on social media and our influencer world is impacting their behavior in real life. As we continue our special Operation Education Town Hall, Navigating the Bully Zone, I want to ask our panel about that parenting side of the conversation. And first, what is the best way to start that conversation, get that conversation going with your child to find out what is really happening?
Sure. So, first thing is to believe your child. When your child opens up to you, they're being very vulnerable. So believe what they're telling you, but also take a moment and get curious. Every conflict has multiple sides. So you need to just stick with it. Ask, the 5 W's, who, what, where, when, why. Get curious around all pieces of it so that you can gain enough information to look for a whole story there.
What if your child is the bully?
Yeah, I think that it kind of remains with what Donna is suggesting. If your child is the bully, there is a reason for that. What is the deeply rooted reasoning behind those behaviors? And are they even aware of what that has looked like for them in their experiences?
So we say that, bullying is a behavior, and behavior is communication. So bullying is communication. What are they trying to communicate? What unmet need do they have? What unlearned skill is there? Those are the things to look for.
In talking with Rio's family, one of the things they had said was, looking back, they would have pulled their child out of that situation, right? And I think there are a lot of parents who second guess themselves. Should I do this? Should I not do this? And we all don't want to be in a situation where we're having to look back. So what is the right answer? Is pulling your child out of a situation a good idea? As a parent of a young child, I do have to say that weekends are great because that 2 days away from some of that peer conflict is good. But in the long run, if you pull your child out of a situation, could that help or hurt?
I think parenting is so hard nowadays because you have to make that determination, and it's one decision, right, that could go one way or the other. What I would suggest to parents is that you really get curious, have those conversations, and then you might have to be the one to decide, this is peer abuse, this is an adverse childhood experience, allowing you to continue on in this situation is not safe for you, so I'm going to have to make the decision to move you.
And then how can mental health professionals help? I think that's an important piece, whether your child is the bully or being bullied.
So as a social worker within the academic environment, but also simultaneously a therapist, I find that it is easiest to help by just providing like some love and support within the academic setting, but also bridging that gap with resources, community resources, because it can't all fall on a parent. It can't all fall on an academic environment.
Yeah. So next, as we continue to navigate the bully zone, our panel is answering your questions and making a last-minute pitch to parents and communities about this important topic. We'll be right back in a couple minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we are navigating the bully zone. This is a special Operation Education Town Hall. Now, we just have a couple minutes left of our half-hour segment, but we want to get to some questions that we received from people online. And I think one of the most interesting was, can bullying just be verbal, or is there always a physical aspect to it? What are the different kinds of bullying?
So you don't have to have any physical interaction for it to be bullying. It can be verbal, it could be physical, it could be cyberbullying, which we are seeing a rise in and is difficult for us to navigate, and also can be social relational bullying, and that really is that exclusionary, we're not going to talk to you, we don't want to hang out with you type of bullying.
Yeah. And I would suggest that a lot of the impact that comes with all of those different versions is pretty intense for students, not knowing how to navigate those things.
Yeah. Not having a voice in that. Yeah.
Yes.
I also wonder, what can we do at home to make sure our kids aren't bullying when we're not with them?
I think that we can just educate, right? We can't go wrong with having more opportunities to educate not only ourselves as parents and adults in children's lives, but the children's that are being impacted by these things.
Yeah, ask those questions.
Yeah, and I think modeling for our kids. This is, it's very easy for us to get angry at something we might see at Facebook, or, get a little bit of road rage ourselves and kind of use that language, or wish death on somebody, I guess, but I think how we model our interactions with other adults is extremely important.
And with them too, right? I mean,
Yes.
if we're bullying our own children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we just have a couple minutes left, I wonder, what is the final message? The one thing you could tell parents, with your background, your expertise, that you would want to leave parents with tonight?
So I think parents should note, it's okay to advocate for your kid, and the more you can understand what your district's process and procedures are around investigating bullying, the more power you have when you go in and have those conversations.
I cannot suggest enough to believe your child and believe that it is impacting their mental health in the way that they are able to navigate their daily living.
Yeah.
And listen and know that this could trigger something for you, right? You as the parent might be triggered in the sense of, oh, I was bullied, or I was the bully. And you have a whole different thing to navigate then as you're trying to help your child understand. Right?
I've always felt that talking about my own experiences helps my children sort of work through their own. Wonderful advice. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, of course, to our panel, and thank you to our viewers. That is a wrap now on our special Operation Education Town Hall. We want to thank everybody and tell them to keep the conversation going, not only for us, but for our children. The news at 6 is next with our top stories.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the WSBT 22 YouTube channel.